The four directional ways of knowing involves the four races of the human family. We were given original teachings to govern our words and actions as spiritual beings housed in these human beings. The ancestors spoke of a time humanity would lose these spiritual instructions on how to live on Mother Earth. Humanity has arrived at a crossroads in the timeline of eternity. What we do from here will determine the future of our children. The four directional ways of knowing where spirit lives is a journey of self discovery immersed in providing love, hope, guidance, and direction for humanity. Welcome to another episode of the four directional ways of knowing where spirit lives. This episode, we will be talking about the chosen ones. The Four Directional Ways of Knowing Where Spirit Lives series revisits the original teachings of love, kindness, and compassion that were given to the four races of the human family. Having meaningful and insightful conversations with fellow human beings on a journey of self discovery to find love, kindness, compassion, healing, and their own personal truth. As the global shift in consciousness accelerates in the world, many are searching for emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual balance, seeking a peace of mind and solace as humanity goes through a global reset. It was said a new world would emerge from humanity in these challenging and interesting times. Many are seeking guidance, direction, and healing as spirituality returns back to humanity. In my language, as Woodland Cree, we call the chosen ones Mahtawinuag. And these are human beings who have been given special gifts and abilities to be able to help the human family and members of the human family when they go through trial, tribulation, and blessings in life so they can come to understand what that what those teachings, what those lessons are in life. Today I'm honored to have my brother John be a guest on the Four Directional Ways of Knowing. John is an accomplished IT professional with over 30 years of experience in directing technical operations. Throughout his career, he has managed and overseen projects totaling over $40 million, demonstrating expertise in all facets of IT. John has architected and managed multiple 24/7 networks, ensuring their reliability and efficiency. He is also known for developing high performing teams, leveraging wisdom, honor, and integrity to foster success and collaboration. John has spent much of his life traveling the world, balancing family life with a deeper sense of purpose. Guided by faith, he now lives a life directed by our Creator, constantly journeying to new places where he is always exactly where he needs to be. His mission is clear: to help others by providing what they need at each step of their journey, offering support and guidance as he encounters those who cross his path. John's words come from a place of unconditional love, offering complete acceptance and a profound sense of safety, free from judgment. Those who have sat with him often describe experiencing a presence so deep and compassionate that they feel fully known, with no secrets, surrounded by love that they've never encountered before. Known by many as a guru, master, seer, and oracle, John gives freely and without expectations, offering his wisdom and presence to others as they journey through life. Welcome, brother, for to this episode. And I'm gonna have you introduce yourself to the world and how you understand when we talk about chosen ones, especially in these times that we are living as humanity.
First and foremost, thank you, Gerald. Thank you, brother. It's always a pleasure and an honor to sit with you, to just sit and share, to talk and understand greater things. For myself, with my journey, it began with leaving. It is a calling. It is when you're asked to do. And as you are to leave all behind because you come to know the truth about who you are, your purpose, and what is happening all around you. So I go as I'm guided. I go as my creator tells me to do, shows me, guides me, talks to me. Visions and signs, it does not matter. It's always there, always speaking,
Mm,
always teaching, always wanting to help us. So I do. And so I travel and I help people that you would not expect to be helped in ways that they could not imagine. Yet it is because that is what our creator asks of me.
mm,
Will ultimately ask of everyone because it is the truth of who we are. So this
mm,
is what we do. We go and we help. We bring light to those around us. They come to understand that their creator is real. It is true, doesn't lie to you,
mm.
always looks after you, protects and guides you, cares for you in ways that people cannot, that you're never alone. You're always protected, you're always guided, you're always kept safe. Your needs are always met. And so this is what I do.
You know what, brother? Thank you for that. For those that are listening in, I met my brother June of last year because I'm on social media and I always get messages from people wanting to meet, wanting to talk, wanting to connect. And I remember getting this message from my brother last spring sometime. And his request was, I would love to be able to come sit with you in ceremony. And I thought, well, that would be awesome when that day would come. Just let me know when that could happen. And I'm open to it, is what I said to my brother. I think it was about 2 weeks later, I got a message. And my brother says, you know what? I packed up my house here in California. I'm jumping into my vehicle and I'm heading north to come sit with you in ceremony. That took me by surprise. Not that many things take me by surprise. So I says, wow. So I said, okay, creator, I know you're up to something. So as my brother that's coming, I'm open to whatever the experience is, whatever knowledge he's going to bring to me in my life as we go through this shift, creator. Let's make this happen. Sure enough, my brother showed up. We connected, we spoke, we hung out for a couple of days, and then ended up going to where I'm at here in Canada in the Kananaskis. We went and saw the ceremony, and that was the first ceremony we did. And then later on, I think that we also he participated in what we call as a fasting camp. So those are when those people come, like my brother came, and that's how I've come to understand these chosen elect, these people who've been chosen. And I've been told that being a chosen one, I just never really thought about it. But then when I come to understand when we say a mahtawinu in my language of somebody who has gifts and abilities to help humanity, I've also found in my own journey, brother, that your calling is higher when your walk has been harder than most. There were times I on this journey that I've been on, going on 30 plus years, 33 plus years now, doing creators work. is that when I look back at my life and says, yeah, I've I've gone through a lot, but I also thank the creator for what I had to go through because if I didn't go through the trials, the tribulations, the challenges, I wouldn't have come to know my creator the way I know my creator. I also wouldn't have come to understand what gratitude feels like when I was receiving all these blessings. So when it comes to the chosen people, that's why the creator said, no, John, my will be the one who can speak on this because that's a part of why he's my servant, is what the creator that I know had said. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, it's true. For myself, there's nothing else that I do. I mean, yes, I go to a job. Yes, I still work. Yes, I still do those things to earn income. Absolutely. But everything I say and do is all based on my creator. It all comes from there. I don't have spirit guides. A lot of people, they'll have guides and this and that, but I don't. I only have one, and that's my creator.
Mm,
That's who I will always go by. I've had so many trust exercises when he'll say, I want you to do this, go do that. And I'll be like, why? What are you doing here? He goes, just do it. And he'll tell me ahead of time, this is what's going to happen. I'll go, I'll do, and it'll be exactly as was told.
mm,
It is to listen, right? This is about that knowing, right?
mhm,
People will say that they know this or they know that, or they feel good about something. Their intuition's telling me this and that, but there is a knowing.
mm,
When you come to that state in your journey, when you come to that spot in your journey where you have 100% belief and 100% faith, you have knowing.
mm,
Everything simply is.
mm,
It's not a question, it just is. And so you walk without fear.
mm,
There's nothing to be afraid of. Every step of yours is guided. And I've go through all kinds of things. But every time there's been, you will encounter this person.
mm,
You can sit there and ask, what is my day going to be like? And you can then know these things, right? There's a lot to what is given. You talked about chosen ones, and maybe it's better to know what's not a chosen one.
mm,
So when we think about it, right, there's so much we see posted in the world on social media and everything else. And there are so many thoughts out there. But when somebody starts sit there going, chosen ones don't really say it. They do not go, they are not one that announce themselves ever.
mhm,
They simply do things.
mm,
They do things quietly, oftentimes unseen,
mhm,
to do the job that's required to make things happen, what it needs to go in this world, how it needs to change. So can adjust lives, change things here. People don't always need help in certain ways. Sometimes it's just giving them a hand. Sometimes it's a word. Sometimes it's financially helping them. Sometimes this stuff has gotten expensive for me, but I don't care. Money is just, it's just an illusion. Money's just an object.
mm,
It gets you what I need, sure. But other than that, it's not mine. You come to a point you start to understand that your life was a gift, right? That part of you, your creator that lives inside of you is a gift for you to come to learn, to grow, to evolve, to understand what it means to actually heal, to learn what it means to have unconditional love. And you will go and weather through so many things. You just will. We do learn in the joyous moments. We do learn in the hard moments because that's when we have to look at something, right? Because it always points back to ourselves, right? So nobody stops learning. We always continue to learn. It will always be part of the process. But it's our job to remember. Our job to begin to remember who we truly are, who our true selves are, what we actually do, who our creator is, to come and return back to these things. Because on the flip side of all this is so much more magical than you could actually put to your mind right now. People have magic,
You
you science fiction, everything else, but I guarantee you, the world that is coming upon us as things shift and change is beyond your imagination.
It's interesting, and I like what you're saying about what the chosen ones don't say they're chosen ones. Because for us, as well as for directional people, as indigenous people, the 6 years I spent in the wilderness, I had to reconnect with the language, the culture, the spiritual values and beliefs. And these are original teachings that I walked out with, and teaching that I had learned before going into the wilderness had to be honed in. And for us in Moccasin country that I call true pipe carriers never say I'm a pipe carrier to the people, because the people are to know will know if you're a pipe carrier. The people will know we are never also to say to self claim ourselves as elders, and that's the community that does that. That's the people who do that. So, and these are the original teachings, and because of what happened on Turtle Island with these residential schools, the boarding schools that they call them in the US, a lot of my people have been stripped of these teachings. These teachings were taken from them. So I don't fault them for that, because it's a part of what colonization is, right? So, and today, unfortunately, now, a lot of the people, the young people, are posting their spirit names on publicly on the net. The teachings I was raised with and I was taught were never to do that, because those spirit names are sacred for a reason. So now, and when I go into the community and I go to communities, I'm always listening. When as soon as I hear somebody say, "Well, I'm a pipe carrier," then I know they were not taught right, or they're taught in a different way, because we're never allowed. There's laws that come with those ceremonies, laws that come with those pipes, laws that come with those various different ceremonies that we've been given. There's spiritual laws, traditional laws that come with that, because they're sacred for a reason, right? So I'm glad you're talking about that. A chosen one never says I'm a chosen one, because it's and that makes perfect sense, right? So
And well, you think about it, I mean, what you read in my bio is true, and that's a small subset of what people have called me by, but I will tell them, "Thank you." I'll tell them, "Thank you for saying that." I will never claim it. I can't. If I were to claim those things, that would be complete an ego-driven statement, claiming ownership of something that I have no ownership of. I'm just a man, yet it is what is done through me that is done by our creator. Without my creator, I am nothing. I literally am nothing. Each of us are built this way. It's how
and
we're
that's
made.
the And that's the thing in the last couple of days. I don't know, something was happening about I know I have an idea what was happening the last couple of days with the people, with the shift that's happening and everything. I was getting people reaching out saying, I don't know what's going on in this world. I know something is going on, but I'm there are those who are saying I'm very lethargic, I can't sleep, I'm having emotional highs and lows. I don't know. I'm having my dreams are like nightmares, everything I'm going. People are just like all over the place, right? And that so when they reach out, so what's going on is well, it's part of the global shift that's happening in the world, and this is a part of the spiritual awakening that's happening, and that as spirituality is returning back to humanity, there is virtually no veil. The veil is non-existent between this world and the other worlds, right? So, and sometimes it just the people, like you said earlier, brother. It just sometimes people just need a reminder, because they forget. I forget now again because I'm a human. I need to self check myself as well sometimes, because I have to do that, because when life gets too busy sometimes, I had to always remember to step back and say, "Gerald, step back, don't get caught up. That's not your circus." And that's why just step back and that, but and that's so that's a part of it is that's helping the people are they're searching right now. The
Yeah.
people are getting tired at the same time though, and that, right? So it's quite interesting. So that's kind of why they said it would be these times
Yeah.
and the people would be going to the black sheep, would be going to the misfits, the chosen ones, the light workers, the star seeds at this time because there's a whole world out there that doesn't know that they don't know.
Yeah.
What's your thought?
I mean some of the things when we were talking about with chosen ones, some of the other things to think about is I'll give you this. A lot of people that, they'll use tarot cards, they'll use whatever it is their focus, right? Their crystal, whatever it is, for them to focus themselves on to get an answer or a direction or flow of energy. A chosen one doesn't even use these things.
Mm,
It is just a natural part of their being. You affect things just by existing. The thing about when we talk about chosen ones, they have gone through a lot, an extreme amount. They would say that, one of the things is that the greatest healers are the ones that have had to go through the most. And it's the same for one who would be considered or called a chosen one. It's no small feat. It is the gifts that are bestowed upon you or allowed as part of your natural functioning as you are currently made. A chosen one has all these things going for them because they have cleansed, they have healed, they have worked on themselves to such a degree. And there's traumas, there's nightmares, there's all that stuff you don't ever want to face inside you. They have to go through because they have to have clarity of heart, clarity of soul. Because anything of that's still within you will affect you.
mhm.
Those hurts, those wounds, those traumas, the negativities, all those things will affect you. But as you become clearer, you function greater. So when people talk about these different abilities at levels of consciousness, whatever you want to say, those things are bona fide. I'll tell you right now that yes, if you're chosen, if you're at that state in your journey, you can know past, present, and future. You can absolutely know them, and you will.
Mm.
You'll absolutely hear and talk to God. You bet. You can absolutely know what other people are doing, what they're thinking. You can know what's going to happen inside of meetings. You can do all kinds of things. But the only reason that you're able to do these things is because you have worked on yourself to such a degree that the things which were impeding you from functioning naturally are removed.
And that's what I was taught, and the elders that have said this in the years I've been doing this is that that's why healing is so important. I think when I spoke, we talked about this at the last one of the episodes we did, and that's why the healers need to heal in these times because two of Creator's absolute laws are no human being has the right to hurt another human being, and no human being has the right to play with another human being's life. Because if you're out there trying to help the people and you're still not in balance emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, then you're playing with that human being's life. And then you're in fact hurting that human being. So that's why I had to go 6 years deep in the wilderness is because of that, right? Because when because I was that guy before I went in to the wilderness. I always tried to help my people, help the people, but I didn't know what I didn't know then until I got the call when was really when I was working with Holly Weird, that I call it. And I was told, you're done that now. You're done that part of your life for now. Because when I've learned that when you have access to excess and you don't have, and you're not in balance emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, that access to excess could take you down the wrong road. And that's what I was, when the ancestors seen that, and he says, yeah, okay, you're done there now. You will now go and heal from the intergenerational trauma, heal from colonization, everything you've experienced, because now you know what happens to access to excess, and you're still operating from an egocentric mentality. That's why I said, okay. And it was not up to me. I said, okay, well, so I did. And that's what I've learned coming out of it 6 years later, was that no, and now we understand why. They said, you don't have the right to hurt another human being. You don't have the right to play with another human being's life. If you're going to help them, help yourself first and do the work. And now I understand what they mean by that, right?
Yeah. I mean, we can talk, if there was some about karma and things. People talk about good karma, bad karma, things to learn from, etc., right? Well, I'll tell you this. The chosen ones will not create negative karma.
Mm.
The price to pay is exponentially increased. You have learned, you have passed tests, you have elevated in a sense of refining yourself into your true form. To go back on those things and what you have learned, the price to pay is magnanimous. It is much, much higher. I will
Wow.
not
You know
do
what?
anything. I will not do anything to create a negative karma whatsoever.
I have never thought about that. Well, you learn something every day, and that's true though, right? And
Oh, yeah.
when how I was taught with that is that that's why, because karma that we know as natural law does not know or care for color, creed, religion, or faith. Natural law is natural law. Karma is karma. But and the one thing I've learned about going down the spiritual road is you come to a point where you realize you know the difference. The universe knows the difference, that you know the difference between right and wrong, and that then you do it knowingly, and then it's going to come back faster and way more swifter. And this is interesting of what's going on in the world right now, in different parts of Mother Earth. The elders had said, that the ancestors had said, "Ipasustiyo tawan may sinuwag," for what they're doing. The people are being disciplined through natural law because they have lost their way. They are playing with life. They are not honoring life for what it is, all for money, all for material, all for all of that. But the old people also say, well, money and material has its way in life, it has its place in life, like everything else. It's how you honor it. If you honor it to make yourself a better human being and to make the world a better place, then you're honoring it for what it was, for what it is. But if you're playing with it and hoarding it and playing with life with it, then you're not honoring it for what it is. And what goes around will come around, right? And what's happening right now with the world is it's reaping what it's sowing, is what the messages I get. And that if you've done good things, you're golden. You got nothing to worry about. But if you're doing it and creating chaos, confusion, mayhem, and destruction, and not respecting Mother Earth for what she brings, then there hell has no fury like a woman scorned, right?
Yeah. I mean, uh, the only way I can put it with the current state, and I really rarely ever talk about these things on purpose, um, is that you're watching the world get torn asunder. You're watching the different parts of the world get torn asunder, to get split, fractionalized. You're watching the people rise up in different ways.
Mm.
This is according to plan.
Yep.
It did not have to be this way.
Mhm.
Humanity was always given a choice,
Mhm.
but here came free will.
Mm.
Free will. You chose to go this route. These are the natural responses and things that are going to occur. Our world's going to change vastly. It's only just begun.
Mm.
It's going to change in ways that are immense. So we'll see what comes in the days ahead. But
And
out of what we were given knowing, right? We are given to know these things not so that we worry, Not that we're afraid or ever be scared, but that you are to prepare so that you know ahead of time. So that when you see these things, you have calm in the midst of chaos, so that you always know where to go, who to talk to, where to be, to always be ahead of a storm and always have sunshine in your sky. It's the way our creator functions and works for those who will actually take the time with a true heart, purposed with joy and a true heart to do these things. Will they have this for them? This is the way my creator is. It's the way everybody else is. It's just time for them to remember.
And that's exactly what the ancestors say that work for the creator. And they say, "Oh, tawanma, ukanatukpaik, taminopaik matsun," they says. It has to happen this way. The chaos, the confusion, the mayhem, destruction has to happen this way because it's going to remind the people what they've forgotten about life, that it is sacred and that we are to always treat to the best of our abilities our fellow human being with love, kindness, compassion, including our Mother Earth. Wiawawan migut tahay suto, wiawaw, the old people say. When somebody loses its way in life, loses their way in life, it says they have to go down that road to learn that that's not where they want to be. And right now, where the world is spiraling in certain parts of Mother Earth, the people have created that, leaders have created that because they have not exercised the gift of free will as they should for the people. We are told, as for directional people, as the leaders are told, be mindful of the choices you make in life for the people because it's not you that's going to be affected by your choices you're making. It's going to be the people that will be affected. If you make good choices for the people, good things will come for the people. If you make the wrong choices for the people, bad things will come for the people. And that's a part of where and seeing in the world. And it's interesting how people now who have been listening in have been reaching out from different parts of Mother Earth, from Asia, from Europe, from the US, from here in Canada, saying thank you for making me understand or start to look at life in a different way. And that for me, I'm sure it is for you, brother, is I look at life through a spiritual lens. That's all I know. And that's all I know in the last 33 plus years is looking at life through a spiritual lens. And that there was a time, like for all of us, where I had these rose colored glasses on and I didn't know what I didn't know, but I had to go through that stage in my life to be able to come to be where I'm at right now in life, right?
Yeah. So like you said, when it comes to chosen ones, there's a lot of gifts.
Mm.
There's some we've talked about and things like that. Some will say, telepathy, is it possible? I'll tell you, yeah, absolutely. Done it a lot of times. It's just you'd be standing there with somebody, all of a sudden they're just gonna do what you wanted something to drink, all of a sudden they just go right and they just hand it to you.
Yeah,
Or they're sitting there and you all of a sudden you just hand it to them and never spoken a word,
yeah.
right? Or you could be it doesn't distance is an illusion, right? Distance is a physical illusion. It doesn't matter because of who we are. We're already connected. Everybody is connected to everybody. You just have these walls that separate you. Your worlds are all individualized. Now you're starting to have the worlds coalesce in different areas. You're having worlds of people coming together as a collective. And this is where you're going to start to see changes start to happen from, like a ripple effect.
And that's what I like when they talk about telepathy, being able to communicate without word. And that's why people say, well, when you will hear people say certain things that you're with, and they say, well, how did you know? I was just thinking that. Well, it's called telepathy. They don't know, right? But then there's the ones who are seers who see things in the dreamscape before they happen. They say, well, I don't know why this is happening. And there's a reason why we were given these gifts. People were given gifts and abilities, either as a seer or as an empath. An empath, somebody who could feel the emotions. It's funny how there are a lot of people don't know they're empaths. And they say, I don't know, 1 minute I'm walking, going about my day, having the best day of my life, and bam, I get all this negative emotions. I'm picking up energies, what they're saying is, well, that's what an empath has. Those are abilities. And that's why now it even makes more sense what I was told in the wilderness is that the healers need to heal. Because if the healers are not healing and the people fall to their knees as the world is going through right now, they said the world will fall to its knees and go through hard times, through pain, need, and suffering. And when they do, that's why the light workers, the chosen ones, the star seeds, the people would be going to them for that guidance, for that direction, for that healing. And this is why it even makes more sense when the answer is so you the healers have to heal because where are the people going to go? But then, and there are those who would come to ceremony and say, well, I have these gifts and abilities, I don't want them. And then they would be told, he says, well, look at it this way. If you don't accept and embrace these gifts and abilities that you were given, then where are your children? Where are your family? Where are your communities going to go in their time of pain, need, and suffering because you chose not to embrace these gifts and abilities? So,
Yeah, now the other flip side of the coin is if they ask themselves and they honestly answer why they don't want it, they're going to answer something about themselves, something that they need to look at and fix, something they need to work on inside, right? That's what we're always taught. Whenever we have something that's just driving us nuts, it's pointing to something inside of ourselves. Hey, I'm pointing, this is your thing. Go work on this. And I promise you, every time you work on things, it gets better. And you tell your creator, thank you for it. Yes, this hurt. This was painful to go through, but I understand what you were doing. I understand what you were teaching me. I have clarity now. I am thank you for this lesson. I'm thank you. I'm done with this. I don't need any more, but I truly, truly thank you because I finally understand. And you can look to your creator with gratitude for what you just went through because it was the only way you were going to learn something. It was the only way that he was going to reach you to get to that part that needed to be fixed.
mhm,
And we've got hundreds of parts in us. Who's kidding who? Everybody has a lot to work on.
yeah.
And you'll work on things, and then all of a sudden, more stuff will come up, and then more stuff will come up because there's so much there you can't get to it yet. It's waiting for you, and you're never given more than what you can actually handle at one time.
Mm.
No matter how difficult it may seem, how bleak it may seem, there was I have to remember there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. You will make it through no matter what it is. You would not be presented this test or going through this lesson unless you were actually ready for it.
And you know what? One thing I'm also noticing is there are those chosen ones who had made spiritual contracts to help the people in these times who didn't follow through or not honoring that contract, and they're wondering why their life is going sideways. And I've learned that in the wilderness when people would come to these ceremonies, come to wanting to understand the four directional ways of knowing and what comes with that. And they would be told, well, once you make that commitment to do the creator's work, to help your fellow human being, and you made that spiritual contract, the minute you stop following through and honoring that spiritual contract is where you're only going to make life harder for yourself because you're not fulfilling that. And it's funny how I've been doing this for 30 plus years. Like I said, I've had so many people come and go. And then the only time they would come back is when they would fall to their knees and say, okay, what am I doing wrong? And then I would just say, well, I'll put it this way, I'd say, what are you not doing that you said you were going to do when you stepped into under wanting to do creator's work? And that's all. I would just give it back to him. It's about what, it's not about what you're not doing, it's what didn't you do? Like, what didn't you honor, right? So
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I think I said it before, but, it's like if you're talking about chosen one, there is no glory in it, right? There is 0 glory in this.
yeah.
It is a sacred honor. It is sacred
Mhm.
at an utmost level with your creator. That with you, that is all that it becomes because you see the truth in everything. You see everyone's true self. You see all their pains. You see all their traumas. You see everything within somebody and you still love them because you see who they truly are. They'll say, I've got all these problems. They'll go, you're perfect the way you are. You're perfect. You just can't see it because you have all this stuff inside you that's preventing your own sight
Mm.
from seeing who you truly are. We're all magnificently made. We really, really are. And people can do astounding things. And I mean, I kid you not, when you talk manifesting and stuff like that, sometimes it just depends on what it is for it be perfectly delivered at the right time. Because everything it already happens. It already exists. If I ask my creator, every true want, need, and desire I have is fulfilled perfectly every time without any negativity, no negative effects. Nobody's ever heard. It's all perfect and it's perfectly timed. I am never without.
Mm. And I'm glad you're saying that it's not glory. It's not all glory. People think doing creators work is all rainbow, sunshine, and unicorns. It's not that, because if it was, then everybody would be doing it. It takes. That's why I will sometimes will tell the people, the creator will give the hardest battles to the strongest soldiers. But if the creator will bring you to it, the creator will bring you through it. But also, people need to understand. I share with the people, when you pray for that healing, that guidance, and that direction, it may not come in a box wrapped in a bow. It may come through chaos, confusion, mayhem, and destruction to force you to see the light in that darkness. But
Yeah.
at the same time, the trials and tribulations, the tests are a lot more intense than your average human being, because it's in these tests, like you said earlier, brother. There's two ways I look at life. There's faith of wanting to believe, and then there's knowing the creator exists, knowing realms and dimensions, knowing ancestors exist, all of that, right? So, and that's kind of, and it's always that when people come and want to know the truth, I ask them, well, why do you want to know the truth? And then what if they hesitate, then they know they're not ready. If they step into it right away and answer, this is why I want to know, then I know they're ready. But then even though who think they're ready to know the truth, they shortly realize that, okay, wow, I didn't know this is what the truth was going to be. And so, well, that's a part of the awakening, right? That's
Yeah.
part of why the ancestors had said, in order for the global shift in consciousness to happen, which is now, this is why they said the black sheep and the misfits will be the ones people go to, because society has conditioned the people to believe that black sheep and misfits bring nothing to this world. In order for them to change their way of thinking, the humanity to change with, it has to be forced. It's going to be forced to go to these black sheep, to these misfits, to the light workers, the chosen ones, the star seeds for that guidance, direction, and healing. And that's why it's a global shift in consciousness. People don't understand
Yes.
that, right? It took me
Yeah.
a while to understand it.
Yep. And I mean, you talk about it, we were talking about when it came to balance and things.
Yep.
There's mind, body, spirit, soul. There's all kinds of balance. One of the main factors is people will talk about divine feminine, divine masculine. They'll talk about all these different things. The truth is that you are both masculine and feminine. You are all these things. You've just been out of balance. When we are in balance, everything starts to function correctly. I was asked one time, I was reading a post one time, and the question was asked, what was the greatest, achievement in man's history, humanity's history? And people answered a lot of things. They talked about art, science, music, world events, all kinds of things. And not one of them got it right. And
Mm,
I looked at them and go, those are truly all beautiful and amazing things. They really are. But I'll tell you, the one singular moment in humanity's history that was the most important of all was the moment that men were allowed to feel completely. That a man didn't have to shut down inside, didn't have to suppress his feelings, didn't have to do that. He was always half a person. A man was functioning as half an individual, which is why you always had the problems, getting into fights and arguments and all the rest, because there's no balance there, operating only on half a person, so to speak. Now men are starting to feel. Now men are able to speak about what's going on inside them, their hearts. They're able to transition and evolve now. Before they were not. They were held prisoner. We're going through that period, that transition of evolving. And so without that key moment of men being able to do that, the equation would never have been completed for things to begin and go through what we're going through now. Everything is
that
according to plan.
and we talked about that in when the episode was healing. In order to heal, you have to allow yourself to feel, and that's part of it, right? And I know this chosen we can talk about this for a long, long time, but yeah, it's quite been interesting. And as we wrap up now, is there anything you want to share with the people listening in that they should be aware of or that they need to do as this world is correcting itself, as spirituality is returning back to humanity, as the world is going through this global shift in consciousness? Other the chosen ones listening in and those who want to understand chosen ones, any parting comments, brother?
Sure, I'll give you this one. A lot of times we go through life and we wonder about things. There's a lot of questions of why, the ones that sit unanswered. But there's also ones out there that have hurt us a great deal. And it's to understand the worthiness, that you're worthy, to understand that if your creator loved just the mere thought of who you are, who you will ever be through all eternity, loved just the mere thought so much that took part of itself to form and create you and breathe life into you. You were deemed worthy from the very inception of thought, and that no one can take that from you. For your creator deemed you worthy and always will be, and that you are truly, truly loved more than you can ever know.
And I love that, brother. And I think for those that are listening in its own way, we are all chosen ones, chosen to help a fellow human being in understanding the true power of love, kindness, and compassion. And that in order for the world to continue correcting itself, the people have to continue going within emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually to find that balance, to understand that life is but a blip on a timeline of eternity, and that the trials and tribulations are there to teach us to get to a place of knowing, and that the blessings are there to help us understand and appreciate gratitude. And but for me, is knowing that the Creator loves us enough unconditionally, without judgment, without condemnation, without persecution, and that everything and everyone was created for a reason. Because at the end of the day, in its own way, everyone is a chosen one because we all come from the Creator. Doesn't matter what color, creed, religion, faith you come from. So thank you for taking the time, brother, for your journey on this physical world, on this journey we call life. And looking forward to sitting in ceremony again coming up
Yes, absolutely.
soon enough.
Thank you, brother. You have a wonderful day.